Wildlife is returning to parts of the African savanna, but the real test is tougher than hope. Can protected areas still hold against habitat loss, human pressure, and poaching long enough for that comeback to last? The first place that comeback shows up is in protected sanctuaries, where elephant numbers rose from 24,000 to 38,500. That's a 60% jump. And elephants weren't alone. Black and white rhinos grew from 4,200 to 6,800, lions from 12,000 to 15,400, and cheetahs from 6,100 to 7,500. One reason some reserves are holding on is that teams can now scan huge stretches of land at night with aerial thermal monitoring, spotting movement early enough to head off a clash before people and animals meet at the fence line. That wider view works even better when GPS collars and virtual boundaries steer herds back towards safer ground, and when nearby communities have a real stake in protection through jobs, patrol support, and tourism income. And in the hotspots where danger keeps building, ground tracking units make the system real. They move in, verify what the sensors flagged, and stay with the problem until the risk drops. Perimeter radar delivers the biggest drop in incidents, down 82%, and it can watch as much as 800 square kilometers. The trade-off is price. It's the most expensive tool on the table. Thermal aerial scans come close, cutting incidents by 78% across about 500 square kilometers at a moderate cost. Field tracking units are cheaper and more targeted, lowering incidents by 65% over roughly 100 square kilometers. What really makes those gains stick is the combination. Technology works best when it's backed by protected land and local communities who help steward it every day. At the top of that stack, thermal scans and perimeter radar watch huge landscapes at once, so rangers can spot a threat early instead of reacting after damage is done. Then GPS collars and smart boundaries add a live layer of control, nudging animals away from danger while teams track movement as it happens. What makes all of that usable in the real world is the human layer. Community programs and field units turn alerts into action on the ground, where protection either holds or breaks. The fastest gains show up in protected sanctuaries where monitoring never really stops because a threat spotted early can be answered while it's still small. Community reserves matter just as much because nearby residents stop being passive witnesses and become the people who help keep wildlife recovery alive. At the top of the ranking is aerial thermal monitoring because it watches huge protected areas day and night and gives rangers time to act before a surprise conflict erupts. Right behind it, GPS collars and smart boundaries turn herd movement into live alerts, so teams can respond to a risky shift while it's still unfolding. Then come community stewardship and ground units. They rank third and fourth because lasting protection depends on people nearby and teams on the ground who can keep acting on every alert. The expensive systems lead when you care about broad coverage and the biggest drop in incidents, but everyday protection still depends on lower-cost field teams who can respond, verify, and stay with problems on the ground. The strongest protection comes when wide-area sensing catches risk early. Real-time tracking shows where it is moving, and local stewardship turns every alert into action that actually holds. So the comeback is real, but it lasts only if these protections grow beyond isolated strongholds and spread into the corridors wildlife still needs to cross. When technology and community action move together, recovery has room to keep going. Follow Wild Canvas and click the bell icon for daily videos.